I almost lost my husband because he went through a major surgical procedure called an aortal bifemoral bypass.
Say that 3 times.
Yeah.
I hate this video. I haven't wanted to do this video for months.
I have wanted to make this video for 3 months since we went through the major surgery because there's so much I feel we have an obligation to impart to everyone.
She wants to warn everybody.
I do. How long did it take before he could have sex again? How long did it take before...
Well, they told me how long I could have sex again, but I decided to withhold that information from you. It's a true story.
I had a feeling it was a little early. I had a feeling it was a little early. Now I understand. Now the picture is really crystal clear. Maybe the miscommunication wasn't the nurses the whole time. It was you. I
was glad you weren't there for that conversation, actually. You were down getting pizza. I think it was day 4.
Oh, my gosh.
They said, you can't have sex for a month. I said, okay.
A month? Oh, my gosh. You're such a liar.
Guess in the comments below how many days I made it.
Whatever. That is not the comment that I want to have on this video. Of all the things.
And I swear to God, this is the last video we're going to do on a sick John ever,
No.
ever again. I'm never doing another video like this.
That's fine, because this video is to help the next guy. And
okay,
this
fine,
video...
but I hated this video. It was hard for me to sit here for 45 minutes doing this with you.
I know, you were looking at
Oh,
this.
man. Well, I'm looking at hawks and falcons and the sky. It's just a beautiful day, and you still want to bring me back to that. But again, her heart is in the right place, guys. She really, truly does want to help. We didn't know what the heck we were looking at. And my wife really wanted to create this video to help millions of people out there, at least hundreds of thousands of people. Every year, 200,000 people every year have to have this thing done. And there's millions of Americans that are going to need to have it done in the next few years.
If you have any tips, if you've been through major surgery prep, be it a bypass, be it a hip replacement knee, if you have any tips that really helped you get through it, please put them in the comments. That's going to help a lot of people. I wish I had known everything that I am about to share with you guys in this video.
Yeah, because when they first diagnosed me, my wife went down the rabbit hole, and there's no YouTube videos out there that's going to share with you guys what she's about to share with you. It's all the ins and outs behind the scenes of what 200,000 Americans deal with every single year. The same thing that I'm going through. Some of our closest friends and some of our subscribers are going through this now. But she woke up this morning in tears, and she said, I had a dream last night. I was sitting in a circle with a bunch of other women that went through what we went through together.
And I had this moment of clarity where it was like, Mercedes, are you going to share? Are you going to share? And then I woke up.
She woke up, she's crying, she's telling me about the dream and that she really feels a responsibility. So in this video, my wife's going to share her experience, because I don't really know too much of what was going on, except for I almost died in the first 24 hours. Learned afterwards.
Well, yeah, because this specific surgery, aortal bifemoral bypass, is a bypass in the abdomen region. Most people get the bypass in the chest. There's different components to the surgery. So I'm actually going to divide this into multiple sections. First, we're going to talk about getting the diagnosis. There's a problem and I don't know what it is. And we're going to timestamp it. Then we're going to talk about hooray, we got a diagnosis, pre-surgery. Oh no, we got a diagnosis. Now what do we do? We're going to talk about operation day, where we thought, okay, time to slay the dragon. Then we're going to talk about the hospital stay, which is really, oh no, now the fight begins.
You have to advocate for your loved one, guys.
And then at the end, we're going to talk about post-op. And post-op is really where the marathon begins, because this is a lifelong battle. This is a lifelong journey that we're on. And please stay till the whole video, because throughout the entire video, we're going to share our biggest regrets and the things we did right. We did some things right, but we're going to share our biggest regrets, the biggest things that I wish somebody had told me before going into this. Because boy, this has been a journey that has forever, ever changed us.
And after the research I did this morning, if you're a baby boomer from the ages of, let's say, 55 up, millions and millions of Americans, because of the diet that we've been on with processed foods over the past 40 years, 30, 40 years. You know, I'm a first when they come out with TV meals guy.
But what's for dinner?
Let's see. We've got fried chicken, turkey, Salisbury steak. Not bad.
Millions of Americans are going to be facing this in the next few years, because when she first found out, She went to YouTube and put in peripheral
Aortal Bifemoral bypass.
yeah, which basically means they replaced my aorta with a new silicone aorta. They bypassed to my femoral arteries, which now fed my lower bottom. And it's absolutely a miracle that I did not lose my legs with gangrene. And now, first off, by the grace of God, I am still here. He must have work for me to do. Second, I'd like to thank the doctor that performed the surgery, Dr. Willis. Thank you, sir. I think God guided your hands, but the miraculous stuff these guys can do now is incredible. And thirdly, my wife. My wife was the rock. And without her, I probably would have died that night, because she's going to tell you some stories of what went on behind the scenes in the ICU that didn't have somebody advocating for them that may have died that night.
This whole journey started with what's going on here. Something's wrong and we don't know what. John did a video where he detailed his symptoms called I'm Broken, where he talked about losing his ability to walk, and he was still in his 50s. It made no sense. The hardest thing about that part is we're battling insurance companies. Just getting to see the specialist was so difficult because there's wait times. The system is so broken.
The healthcare system won't approve it.
Well, and so you get a referral, but a week would go by, 2 weeks would go by, and you don't get the phone call. You got to call the doctor that's supposed to do the referral, make sure they do the referral. You got to call the doctor that's supposed to receive the referral, make sure they receive the referral, and make sure they have everything they need. Chances are they don't. Then you need to ask them, what do they need? Call the other doctor, tell them what's missing, and oh, I sent the fax. You need to make sure the fax gets received. And then the other piece, we had to document everything. I called this doctor on this day, they said they hadn't received it. Called this doctor on this day, said they sent it here and here. And it's a fine line because you have to advocate, you have to push, but you can't be too pushy. The bottom line is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You have to squeak, but you can't be rude because then they put you at the bottom of the line, but you have to almost do their job for them. What's the NPI number? Did you get the BEG referral? So that they can get you in. And then when they finally say, okay, we have an availability, always take the first available. Even if that turns your schedule into shreds, always take the first available, because otherwise you're waiting months. The hardest thing that we were battling was just getting anyone to see him. And the bottom line is that nobody reads and nobody cares. And you have to learn the biology of what the doctors are telling you. And you have to request medical records to say, hey, okay, what did you find? Even the discs of the MRI, I need this, because they don't talk to one another and they're having you talk to them, but you don't know the terms. And here's the other difficulty. You don't go into the specialist and get answers. You go into the specialist, you tell them what's wrong with you. They order a test. That's a whole other visit. You get the test, then you need to go back to find out what the test said. 3 visits to learn anything. And that's why this system, I developed a note-keeping system that was this thick of every
Can
single...
I interrupt you?
Yeah.
So for 3 months, I went off by myself, and they were really hyper-focused on my spine. I ended up having 3 procedures on my lower spine. None of it helped. That's when my wife stepped in. And from that point forward, we started really dialing in. This is when she realized how messed up the system was. She spent hours every day on the phone with this doctor and this receptionist and this person that's supposed to call on this number. Advocacy is so important. And what was so frustrating for me watching her, because I'd just sit in the doctor's appointment, I'd be quiet. She'd rip through things. Have you seen this report? Have you seen this report? It's so specialized now that the doctors don't talk to each other. They don't talk to each other. They don't look at the notes. They don't even look at the test results. They might not even be able to get them. One doctor doesn't send it to this doctor, to that doctor, to this doctor. You got to bring it to them. And the other thing we found out is make copies of everything so that when you bring them to the doctor and you give them, they'll shred them as soon as they copy them. Then you got to hang around for 15 minutes to get another copy.
Yeah, the advocacy is probably the most important part, and why I think, if possible, this should really be a 2-person process. Don't be afraid to take notes and then review your notes and get the bottom line of the notes, because when the day came when we finally had the answer. We no longer need a diagnosis. We finally have a diagnosis. Doctor walks in and he sits down and he says, well, it's complicated. And at that moment, John's spirit left his body and he had a moment of...
Well, that's when the doctor told me, we're going to open you up. We're going to split you down the center. We're going to cut down your legs. We're going to replace your aorta. We're going to put in a silicone new one with a Y valve, which I call it in plumbing. And then it's going to go down and feed your femoral arteries and your iliac arteries. And this is a big boy surgery. And I mean, I literally didn't say anything. It was all her, and I was in shock for the rest of the day. Like, okay, I didn't realize it was this serious. I thought it was just my spine. It's my heart.
It's my hat. That was funny. No, so thank goodness I was able to take notes while he was. I can't imagine what that was like for you. It really was an out of body
Well,
shock
no, it was
experience.
as a man, you're pretty much invincible your whole life, and when you start getting into your 50s, you realize you're not invincible anymore, and you start to look back at your past, and you know the first thought always comes to your head, man, if I knew I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself. But yeah, it was just shocking to me, and I realized, whoa, this is serious still. And then he gave us the real scary thing, which is, 5% of the people don't come off the table, and then another certain percentage actually will get complications afterwards, and they'll pass away. So I knew it was serious, and what even scared me more about that was I said, when is this going to happen? They're like, we're going to get you in as soon as possible. That doctor, after 7 or 8 months, whatever it was, 8 months, he saw the cut on the foot. He actually went looking for it right away, and he said they should have known this, and that you're lucky you didn't lose your legs. We need to get you in right away.
I was like, Doc, how do you spell it?
Femoral.
Aortobifemoral bypass. I don't know what these words mean, so I'm writing it out. How do you spell it? So then I can Google it later. Had I not been there, he wouldn't even had the words to describe what they needed. But here's the problem I found. There's a lot of information on the bypass, this heart surgery, but not a lot on the aorta and the abdominal piece.
So they cut me from here to here and then straight down my legs.
Yeah, I would Google aortobifemoral bypass, and I'd see a lot of YouTube videos from doctors who were sharing, first you take the incision and you put it in the right ventricular blah, blah, blah.
Once the anastomosis is completed, an infrarenal clamp is placed and the suprarenal aortic clamp is then released, and the anastomosis is then assessed for any bleeding.
And I didn't want that information because I wasn't the one performing the surgery. I wanted to hear from the guy on the operating table what he felt like.
What his wife felt like, what advocacy, yeah.
Yes, I wanted to hear from the guy that was in it that said, this really helped me a lot, because there's something about talking to people that have gone through it. The doctor may know what he's doing, but he hasn't experienced it, and there's a difference. Your hunger is going to change. In fact, his hunger started changing before the surgery because he was having this, what's this cathartic moment, this cathartic life moment.
I got a plan who's going to take care of my wife and daughter and kids and all 4 of my kids, and what am I going to do with my property, and what is going to be done with this. And so I'm more focused on, okay, if I don't come off the table, and God's work, my work here is done for him, then I got to do all this stuff. And she's more focused on, we're getting you through this. Come on, we got to do just.
And we had to spend a lot of efforts getting affairs in order. While he was focused more on the, what if I don't survive this? I was focused more on, okay, the pets, why do we have so many pets? All the pets need food. The kid, what do I do with the kid? Or where do we stay? Are we going to stay? So I was thinking about arrangements. He was thinking about arrangements, completely different types of arrangements. And I'm going to say that the pre-surgery is really a blessing, because there's people that don't get pre-surgery. Think about emergency situations where they rush you into, and you're just, so the other piece about the pre-procedure prep that I am so grateful for is the community here at Thunder Canyon. And they really helped us. They would make us meals, and they helped us with everything going on. I had a hard time making dinner, or I had a hard time, it was just overwhelming, and people really stepped up and helped, and they just helped carry us through.
If y'all don't have a community, join a church. Get out there. If you're by yourself, get involved with your local church. Can't get a ride, call a local church,
Exactly.
Get to the church, get to know people, because when the stuff hits the fan, it's so important that you have people around you that care about, that know, that love you. So we're blessed here at Thunder Canyon. We hope you have a community too.
Yeah, because community is a big part of it.
It's huge.
Yep. Part of the affairs and getting everything in order too is the medical proxy. In this state, I can't make medical decisions for him if he's incapacitated unless he explicitly gives me permission to do so. And so getting the medical proxy, it's not just the will and testament, who gets the hat and who gets the shoes or whatever. It's like, who can make decisions? Because I knew, it was a tough conversation, I knew what his line was. He didn't want to live a life that he couldn't do what God brought him in this earth to do.
He has more work for me. Yay!
Exactly. So it wasn't quite a DNR situation, but he didn't want to live as a vegetable. He didn't want to live in such a way that he
I don't want her changing my diapers. That's what
Exactly.
I don't want. So
Exactly. So he had communicated what his lines were, what his boundaries were, and I needed to be there.
Lee, this is a hard decision, but I have thought about it, and I want the plug pulled. Yeah.
Ma'am, your husband's not dying. He's just taking a nap.
Look at
I'm
him.
all right.
Look at him. I've never seen him make that noise ever. He got more plugs in him than a circuit city. Oh, baby. Mama loves you so much.
And speaking of final affairs, you guys, for the first time in my life, I asked, in 7 years of this YouTube channel, I asked the community to help me with my medical bills. I wasn't sure I was going to survive it, and they had piled up. I started a give, send, go, which was extremely hard for my
It was
ego.
humbling.
It was humbling. And you guys helped us raise $24,000, which was a big piece, about 30% of what we needed to pay off all the bills from this craziness, $400,000 worth of bills in 2025. So thank you to each and every one. God bless you. And especially thank you for the prayers too.
Exactly. The prayers, that's why you need the community too. And the prayers, it was awesome because
Prayers work.
in the God First app, we were sharing with people and everyone was praying, and the community we have both digitally, both here at Thunder Canyon and beyond is amazing.
Yep.
Pre-procedure is a blessing to get all that time to square things up. Who's going to water the plants? Who's going to do this? Because they told us. It was about almost a week in the hospital, and it ended up being like they told us.
I don't even remember the first 24 hours.
You don't, and maybe it's a blessing you don't remember the first 24
Because that's
hours.
when they almost lost me, right?
Exactly. And then also take lots of notes. And we had a pre-procedure appointment. We gave them a lot of information, but here's another piece that we need to tell you. We gave them all this information in the pre-procedure appointment, but the right hand doesn't speak to the left hand. And so the information that we gave them on the pre-procedure appointment, it didn't all get to the doctors when he needed them.
We gave them all of our medications. We gave them everything.
Nobody reads, nobody cares.
No, you know all that, the stuff you fill out all the time, 15 different times from 15 different, they never read it. So
Nobody
it's like,
reads.
why, don't even give them that information because nobody looks at it. Except for some person at the government level that'll eventually input that and put it on your records.
Whatever.
Don't give them any of that
The
stuff.
only people that read it is the attorneys if things go bad. That's why they do it, so that they can say, oh, you never
Yeah, but we gave
disclosed
them
it.
everything.
So we give them everything, but we're starting to notice that this lady at the pre-op is saying, oh, it's only going to be small wound, whereas the doctor called this a big boy surgery. He said this was a big deal. We gave her the list of all the medications, so we assume we give you everything in the pre-op, that you have all
You're
of
not
it.
telling a good story.
Okay, well
so
then tell
let me
a better
get you in the story. So let me interrupt you, babe.
Okay.
So we get to the hospital the day of the operation. I've done everything they've told me to do. I haven't eaten for 24 hours. I did the washes that I'm supposed to do of my body. We get there. The first mistake we made was we brought Sage with us. My advocate, my best friend, my best helper, right, was unable to come in with me because we had Sage with us. And that was a big, big mistake because I was back there for a couple of hours before Mercedes could come back and visit. And the girls were prepping me for a procedure that wasn't the same as the procedure they were going to do. I had an idea of this. I even mentioned it to them. They were saying, oh, we're just going to do 2 small incisions down in your groin area, and that's all you need. And I'm like, no, he's going to open me up, and they're going to do a big wire on my body, and they're going to do the aorta. Oh, no, he's only going to need 2 incisions. So they don't listen to anything I say, but if she was there,
I would have pushed.
yeah, she'd have pushed him or pulled the paperwork out of her binder. So that was a big, big mistake on our part, was bringing Sage with us, because if she had been with me, and we'll tell you why it was so important that they had prepped me right, because 2 weeks later, it was one of the most horrific, horrible experiences I've ever had, because they didn't shave me in the right places, and I was pretty much, the whole lower bottom was ripped off of me all at the same time.
And the funny thing is that when that lady took him and said, oh, we'll get to you soon, I knew she was lying to me. And that was really hard to
She
stomach.
left you out there for 2 hours.
And we did have help eventually, but, oh, we'll be there soon. We'll be there soon. Soon means nothing. Soon is a bad word. They shouldn't use that word, because soon in my book is like 5 minutes. Like soon. Soon means quickly. Soon in the medical world means
Weeks.
means
Months.
before you die. But soon in the medical world means before you
Hopefully
die.
before you die.
Hopefully before you die. So he doesn't have his advocate, and then his doctor's talking to him at a time when he needs his advocate the most. So I'm glad we brought Sage, because I wanted her to be able to say goodbye to you before the surgery, but I wish that I had an extra helper. So when
I don't
it came
remember
time,
Sage coming in, so I think I was half under by the
yeah,
time
they
she
gave
came
you
in.
some things to calm you down. So then they finally let me see him. I don't get to talk to the doctor, which they swore we would all talk to the doctor. And then they only let me see him for 5 minutes. It was very stressful, and it didn't have to be that stressful. They really could have managed that situation better. I only get to see him for 5 minutes before the procedure. Then I think it was probably 6 hours later, I was finally able to see him. And I walk into the ICU room and I see him, and I immediately know that Sage needs to go home without me. I need to stay there. My husband needs me. I have never seen him in that much pain before in my entire life. And Sage really wanted to see you after the surgery, but I
she
didn't.
didn't let her.
I didn't want her to see her father in that much pain.
With that much instrumentation on me.
No, well, between all the tubes and everything in you, and you were in pain. You were just like agonizing in pain. So Sage went back to Thunder Canyon, and I stayed that night with him. And what I saw the first night in that ICU, whew, ICU is supposed to be 1-to-1 nursing, and in that hospital it was 1-to-3 nursing. So 1 nurse to every 3 patients, and they're all in critical condition. Unfortunately, with so many patients in critical condition, when you hear somebody moaning and agonizing in pain, they kind of get a little ear blind to it. They don't hear it. It doesn't mean much when so many people are agonizing.
They ignore you.
I wish I could say that he was the only person I heard in agony as I walked through the halls of that ICU, but he was not. So luckily, I was there, full person, able to walk over 15 feet to the nurse's station and say, we need to do something. This isn't working. Me advocating for him and saying, hey, we need to get this pain under control. Thank God I was there, because once they walked in, they noticed the blood pressure. It was a struggle to keep his blood pressure under 220. And what's worse, at one point the nurse came in and it was 190, and she's like, oh, we got to get this blood pressure under control. I was like, really? I thought that was good, because it's been 220 all night long. And the way that they looked, the shock that they had I not been there, and
She was in every few minutes pumping stuff into my
as
thing.
soon as they realized his blood pressure was where it was, I mean, just pumping you with who knows what, pump, and finally they got the blood pressure under control. One of the things that I did at this point that was beneficial was that I ordered pizza, and I got a bunch extra for the nurses. And that was the best night's sleep I had ever gotten in the hospital, was when I fed them. So my best advice to you is kiss the ring and bribe them with food. Now here's the problem, is that there's a PM staff and a daytime staff, and they're different. So I wish that I had gotten every shift change, pizza at night and donuts in the morning. I wish I had, because they treated him so much better. Not just because I was there and they couldn't hide behind, but as soon as I fed them, your care was astronomically better.
I don't remember any of this. I don't remember any of the first 24 hours, and the second day was just kind of in and out.
And here's another thing. I'm so grateful that I scoured YouTube videos and reading of people that had somewhat similar procedures. I was able to ask the doctor while I had all this pizza, hey doc, in the videos I learned on YouTube, there was this breathing thing. And doc's like, yeah, that's important. I was like, oh, well, could we get one of those? This is 2 days in. And the reason the breathing thing is so important is because when you have a major surgery like that, pneumonia, and he's got pneumonia
because I got asthma.
Yes, but the last thing you want to do when you're hurting that much is take a deep breath, and that's exactly what you need to do. Had I not been there and reminded them to do their job and get the breathing thing, oh no, and then compression socks, because if you don't have compression socks, you could have something and then get an aneurysm and all. And I was like, hey doc, I thought I had heard something in a YouTube video that we needed compression socks. Does he need those? Yeah, he should have them on right now. And you see the nurse rushing to get the compression socks.
Was that 2 days, 3 days later?
Yeah, it was 2 days without compression socks when he should have had them immediately after surgery. And The other thing that why you need an advocate is I can quote you 100 different studies on the importance of sleep. And this is the asinine part, is that the respiratory therapist, the guy getting the blood for tests, the nurse, they do all of their work every 45 minutes at nighttime. And there's a reason why sleep deprivation is akin to Russian torture. It's a Russian torture. So at a time when what this man needs is sleep, that's when they poke and prod him the most. And then in the daytime, they leave him alone. It's completely contrary to any circadian rhythm. I mean, it is insane to me how there's no common sense. Thank God I was able to advocate for him to get sleep, saying, hey, respiratory therapist, can you come at 6 a.m. instead of 3 a.m.? So at least he can, hey nurse, can you come at this time instead of this time? Hey, could you do this? And as soon as we got you to sleep, it was a game changer.
Yeah, it started getting better.
The other big regret that I have during the hospital stay was I brought the big kahuna of all the medical records of everything that was wrong with him. And I wish all I really needed was 2 papers, the medical proxy saying, hey, I can make decisions for him, and a list of prescriptions that even though we had given it at the pre-procedure, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, because then they're like, well, what's he on? What's he on? And I wish I had just had that, because when I would bring them the whole file, they didn't want to look at it. They're like, no, just tell me. Nobody wants to read. So I wish I had just had a singular paper that I could have handed them. And then
Well, in their defense, they are overwhelmed with people. And the truth is that it's their job, but you do become a number. You do become a number, and
it's not
and
their
it's just
husband.
Shuffle
They don't
them in,
care.
shuffle them out. You got 5 minutes with these specialists, and they're out the door.
Yeah,
they're gone. So that's why the advocacy is so important. Mercedes, hit them with this. This is okay. This is why we're here. This is what they found. Here's the reports. Here's these tests. There it is. And they'd all be, oh, well, no, we didn't get this. And they start looking through that. Oh my God, it's 100% included. We better get him in.
Oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This is from here. I'm not gonna let you open it. I'll open it for you since your hands are on.
Yeah, they've got them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in comfortable shape.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read this to you.
At the ICU, it really bothered me how I could hear multiple people throughout the halls moaning. And I remember this one lady in particular, all night long, she didn't have anyone there with her, and she's like, oh, and all the nurses, she's literally in front of the nurses station, 5 feet away from the nurses station, and nobody's stopping to like help this lady at all. And that's the same lady who the next morning, they had to bring in a crash cart and they had to intubate her. And you gotta wonder, I mean,
if she had advocacy.
if she had had advocacy, and I don't know if the advocacy would have made a difference.
We don't even know if she survived or not.
We don't know if she survived, but at minimum, if she didn't survive, why not give her a little bit of comfort in that time? Like, does she really need to be in that much pain?
And should you be giving one nurse 3 critical patients at the same time? How do you bounce around? I don't understand that.
And no wonder you don't read. You don't have the
Yes.
time to read.
And most of those nurses were wonderful.
They were really wonderful, but they were overworked.
They were
and the
overworked,
system, the
yeah.
system didn't help them.
Yeah.
So the other thing they don't tell you is that there are certain milestones you have to hit. Just like a baby that has to sit up on its own, or you have to go potty and you have to fart and you have to, I'm not even kidding you, those were milestones that he had to go through each leg of this journey.
Did I fart?
Yeah, when he farted, it was a celebration because it meant he could go out of the ICU.
Awesome.
So in the ICU, one of the big things that he needed was you need to get out of the bed and sit in the chair. You have to get out of the bed because you have to move your body. If you stay in the bed, it's actually really bad for you. But when you're in that much pain, the last thing you want to do is stand up and move your body, but it's what you need to do. So you would have some nurses that would be honest with you and they would say like, hey, you have to do this because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. And that was amazing. But then you'd have other nurses that would kind of like the carrot dangling that say, okay, if you do this, then you get the pain medicine. So you do this so that you finally stop hurting, and then they don't give it to you. Or like, well, I don't want to give you the pain medicine now because the doctor's coming. But guess what? They didn't check to see if the doctor is coming. They don't know when the doctor is coming. The doctor doesn't answer to them. The doctor never shows up, and he goes without pain medicine because he's waiting. So one of the things that we finally did that helped us a lot was we asked them, hey, what are all the milestones we have to hit? Just like cattle, they railroad you into one step at a time, because for most people, if you knew the 10 steps you had to take, it'd be too overwhelming. So they only tell you the next bit of critical information. But big picture, it was almost manipulative because, oh yeah, once you do this, then you can eat. Well, no, you can't really eat. You can only drink fluids. Well, no, you can't really. So finally I was like, what are all the steps to get out of here? And as soon as they said, well, you have to drink this, then you can eat this, then you need to poop, then you need to walk like this. As soon as they gave us the big picture, then we knew what the game plan was.
Wifey brought out the whip and just said, poop, fart,
Yeah.
drink, eat.
We had to fight to get him food for 4 days. They had him on ice chips, and he's like, I'm dying here. I just had surgery. I need to eat. Well, no, you can't eat because if there's an obstruction. So it's like, okay, we'll give him liquids. And then guess what liquids they gave him? All corn syrup, sugary crap. That was their best idea. It wasn't even real juice. It was like juice flavoring. Oh, it was horrible. But I had to fight to get him liquids, and then mechanical solids. So they're only going to give you one step at a time. Make sure you ask them, what is the map to get out of here? What all do I need to do? One of the biggest things I regret is after 4 or 5 days in, I was so exhausted. I was tired. I never left his side. And what ended up happening is at one point, I was getting asked questions on his medicine, and I had forgotten something that I was just so tired.
We'd already
and so
given him
overwhelmed.
the information.
Well, so here's what happened is I wish I had had all the information in just a singular piece of paper, because I will read that. It ended up... Oh,
You got in a fight with the main nurse, and you guys went at it, and it was ugly. It was uncomfortable. It turned into a later phone call, which even was uglier and more uncomfortable. They didn't realize that for 9 months, the pain from not being able to walk and the pain in the cut on the foot, the pain from the spine, they had given me so much medicine and medication just to get me through each day that the tolerance level had gone up. And they would fight back on giving me pain medication. Exactly. So Mercedes went head to head with this guy.
Because I had to advocate to get him, and I wish I had just had a singular piece of paper with all the medicines. I assumed he had it because I had already given it to them pre-op.
15 times.
So then he's like, well, you missed this medication. Why aren't you? And that is where there was such a lack of compassion, because he's going through this. I'm seeing my husband literally split open, and I'm a wreck. I'm 5 days into this.
She hasn't slept very good. She's hungry. She's tired. This lead guy, the nurse, the main person next to the doctor, him and Mercedes are doing this, and then I get a staph infection the last day that I'm there, and he's the guy that's got to come in and do it. You want to talk about uncomfortable. And then to read his reports at the end was just pissed us off something horrible, because all the information, they had it. And he made it sound like we were hiding something from him. We were never hiding anything from him. They were dealing with a woman that had sat by her husband's side for 4 days, right? Not really sleeping that much, not really eating the way that she should. And she's advocating for me, and he's getting pissed off at her because she's advocating for me. This guy lit her up, and I just did everything I could not to say a word. I couldn't fight the guy because, I mean, I was a little banged up at that point.
Yeah.
But
there's not a lot of honor in picking on a woman. So he leaves the hospital with a staph infection. And now we're at home, and now the real recovery begins. And I was expecting a piece of paper that said, eat this, not that. In our post-op appointments, because they had cut his abdomen, I'm like, hey, can we get physical therapy to rebuild his core? You know what they told me? They told me to YouTube it, to look for YouTube videos to build his core. So bottom line is, you are on your own. This is a business, and you are on your own.
You are a number.
You're a number, and that's all you are.
Yeah.
It was actually one of the bedpan nurses, and I remember the look that she gave me when she looked at John, she looked at me, and she said, now the real battle begins. You stay out of here. We fixed you up, but now the real battle begins. You got to stay out of this hospital bed and stay out of here. I don't want to see you again.
So now I'm going to jump back, guys, to that point earlier in the video where I told you that they didn't prep me correctly.
Remember
that? The
that?
two main nurses, right? That they were just looking for easy incisions. That's where they shaved.
Remember?
And they opened me up, split me open, pulled me apart. And it was time, 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, right? I'm laying in a chair. I'm frustrated. I'm still not really quite walking. I'm walking as much as I can. That it's time to go back and have the zipper removed, which the zipper means is this weird, like, silicone caulking underneath a piece of tape that covers 112 staples underneath it. and it was time to remove that. And they had not properly shaved any of this area or my pubic hair. So the cut goes straight down to my pubics and then cuts down in a Y down my legs. They didn't have that properly taken care of. And again, this is why I wish my wife was in there at that point. It was so important. These nurses had no idea what they were prepping me for, and they're prepping me for a major, major surgery. So I will only tell you this, that the nurse, the beautiful nurse that actually took off that zipper, that peeled that thing off me, she was almost in tears because she knew how bad it was going to hurt.
They messed up.
They blew it. And they should have known better, and they didn't. But I mean, I had tears in my eyes, not from pain, but I mean, from the pain. I wasn't crying, but just tears. And I just kept screaming, oh, Jesus, help me, Jesus, help me. And they could hear me all over the place. And at the end of that thing, I just gave her a hug, but she didn't want to touch me anymore. And I had all this gluey, sticky, crappy stuff all over me for weeks.
That's another thing. It's a miracle that they can re-put his veins and vascular whatever together. But you're telling me they can't find a cream that gets that sticky stuff off? FYI, finally what ended up working was a little bit of castor oil and a Q-tip very gently because I didn't want to touch the wound. And actually the part that I did castor oil all around was the best
part that came off the easiest.
It came off the easiest, and it's the part of your wound that has healed the best.
Yeah, so that was the worst part of it for me. It wasn't the surgery. It was actually that day when they took that thing off of me. Even the staples, a week after they had removed the zipper portion, right? They didn't even remove the staples that day. It was just the zipper portion.
Oh, they ripped it.
Oh, they just ripped it. So it was pulling on the staples. It was pulling. It was a nightmare. And again, looking back, that's the one thing is make sure whoever's advocating for you comes into the prep with you. Don't have kids there with you. Let them even tell you, no, you can't come in. Yes, you can go in. Go in with them.
I was really surprised that they didn't really give us a what comes next kind of thing. It was more like, we'll see you in 3 months, we'll see you in 6 months, we'll see you in 9 months. But I mean, they didn't even say, could you do Tylenol or ibuprofen? Which one's the right one? How long did it take before he could have sex again? How long did it take before...
Well, they told me how long I could have sex again, but I decided to withhold that information from you. It's a true story.
I had a feeling it was a little early. I had a feeling it was a little early. Now I understand. Now the picture is really crystal clear. Maybe the miscommunication wasn't the nurses the whole time. It was you. I
was glad you weren't there for that conversation, actually. You were down getting pizza. I think it was day 4.
Oh, my gosh.
They said, you can't have sex for a month. I said, okay.
A month? Oh, my gosh. You're such a liar.
Guess in the comments below how many days I made it.
Whatever. That is not the comment that I want to have on this video. Of all the things. No, well, and how long till you can resume normal activity? So we didn't know what to expect in the recovery, and here's what I can say. His hunger didn't come back for at least a month after, so he lost it the month before and the month after. He had wonderful days, and then he had what I call sleep days. He'd have a lot of bursts of activity.
You have good days and you have bad days. And me, I'd get out there, I'd have a really good day. I was so happy I could use my legs again. I'd go on mile walks, and then for 2 days I'd be knocked up. I'd be banged down. My body was just like sleep.
Yeah, 12 hours in a, like straight here. And that's what he needed. And I wish they had told us more about the up and down. Also from the caretaker perspective, once he started feeling better, I went to get him his medicine, and he looks at me and he's like, I can get my own medicine. And I was so, I mean, because for the last 9 months, I was going to the kitchen, I was getting him the water, and then all of a sudden, he's like, I can get my own medicine, and I let him. I had to make an adjustment once he started feeling better, because it was a new John. Sick John and healthy John are 2 different men. And when sick John left the party and healthy John came back, it changed.
Our dynamic and how we do things.
All of it changed.
I want to do everything again. Guys, one of the best tips I'm going to give you. My wife bought this pillow for me that I refused to use for a couple of days because I didn't get it. This was a lifesaver. What I would do is just pull it against my stomach, and it would help hold my guts in, because they literally cut everything all the way through. This pillow, when I would cough, when I would breathe heavy, just holding it tight on my belly made all the difference in the world, and I got the best wife ever. all the glory to God, right, guys? This has been a miracle. I believe that He's got more work for me to do. I am so grateful to have the wife that I have. My perfect helper is right next to me, my best friend, my soulmate, my love. I love you so much. Thanks for not leaving my side, as hard as it was. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you about the sex thing, but we'll talk about that later, not on video. And thank you to the surgeon, to the nurses who and we didn't mean to rag on everybody, but we're just saying the importance of advocacy while you're in there. These people become numb to it. They see it every day, 12 hours a day, and they become numb to it. You guys really, truly are a number. They move hundreds of people through there every week. And, you know, they're just doing their job, and the alarm bells and the moans, and they just become numb to it. So it's so important you have an advocate. I pray to God that you have an advocate like my wife, my best helper right here. And we appreciate you sticking by the whole video. If you can give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We're trying to break 200,000. We're going to get back to normal content, whatever that means for our channel anymore. Who even knows? It's our life story at this point. And we love you. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for all the RV Odd Squad all over the country, and especially our family here at Thunder Canyon. By the way, I just want to add that diving down the rabbit hole, we found an amazing video that if you're looking at one of these aortal bifemoral bypasses, we found a video. We're going to link it to the end of this video. It's an incredible explanation, not with blood and guts, but it's got great graphics on what they're actually going to do to you, and it gives you a lot of good stuff about what you're looking at, which they never gave me. I had no idea. My wife did the research, but like she said, it was really hard to find the information online, which is why she's been begging to do this video. God bless you all, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Giffy, we miss you. We miss you, buddy. We miss you. Hey, buddy. Oh, he loves you so much. He